All right, my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I want to talk about why HDR makes a significantly bigger difference than our ray tracing. So I recently, not recently, I guess, I've had this monitor for about 4 months now. I've been using like an LG C2, the Vizio H1 OLED. It's HDR makes such a bigger difference just in like the overall colors, the better, dynamic range from, really bright to really dark. You get so much more detail in your overall image than you do without it. So the other day, I picked up Silent Hill 2 and I was playing it. When I first loaded into it, the HDR wasn't on, and I was like, wait a minute, why does this game look so terrible? And I had like the full ray tracing on, enabled and everything. I was getting like 45 or something, like 50 frames a second or something on the 7900 XTX at, and I was looking at it and I was like, gosh dang, man, this game just doesn't look that great. And then I was like, oh yeah, HDR's off. So I turned on HDR and boom, instantly the whole game just looked way freaking better. And I was like, are you kidding me, man? So just if you have if you're feeling like, oh man, like RT makes a big difference, turn off all your HDR and look at that game with ray tracing on, just ray tracing and no HDR, and tell me, and then turn off the ray tracing and turn on the HDR on any game, and you tell me what looks better. I mean, obviously combining both technologies, in my opinion, like it's so hit and miss with ray tracing. Sometimes you just don't really notice what it's doing, and other times there's a few games that like you can really tell that like ray tracing is good, but those games tank your performance so much that if you do not have like if you're not using like upscaling or anything like that, then yeah, man, it's bad, and it's gonna get better. I believe over the coming GPU generations. Like obviously it's gonna get better. I mean, tessellation is like super easy on cards now, and there was a time when that ran poorly on free. It's just, yeah, guys. I swear they like keep us trapped in this perpetual upgrade cycle because they just don't seem to be able to optimize things, or they sell us these features that they say, yeah, man, you're gonna need this, and then they barely work, and then people get mad at me, and it's like, dude, why are you getting mad at me? I'm just literally stating the obvious. I get that you spent $2,000 on your GPU and now you have to use performance level DLSS just to even use it. Like, that's not my fault, man. That's freaking Nvidia and AMD, these companies trying to keep us in this perpetual upgrade cycle for features that, if we're being honest, they make a minimal difference. It doesn't take as much GPU power to run HDR. And here's the thing, guys, if you pair your GPU with an incredible, like an OLED or something for HDR, wow, that looks incredible. And when I tell people, like, look, man, I'm seriously happier that I bought a 7900 XTX and an LG ultra wide monitor, because the HDR looks incredible on the AMD cards. I know you can use RTX, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is, man. Like, I had a 4080 Super, I bought a 7900 XTX. I went back and forth with them for a little while, and I just got to the point where it's like, I love my AMD experience so much more that I do not want to keep switching these cards out. Honestly, guys, if there wasn't that whole worry about the PCB board on the Gigabyte cards like cracking and stuff, I probably would have kept it. I probably would have kept the 4080 Super and kept switching them out. But I had people in the comments section always telling me, man, they're not made to do that, and you're going to break everything and you're going to ruin everything. And I was like, you know what, man, they're probably right. Every time I pull this card out and put the other one in, that's me taking a risk that I shouldn't be taking. And I'm not really in a position to where I want to buy and power a whole nother PC at the same time right now. So I was just like, yeah, I didn't want to focus. I didn't want to spend all that extra money on a whole nother build right now because I wanted to buy the camera. There's just other things that I wanted to buy aside of having just 2 PCs, because then I got to get a whole bunch more. Yeah, dude, it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. But honestly, what does make sense is right now, I get the RT is the new feature and everybody's like, yeah, I love it and stuff like that. It's going to get easier to run. It's going to start coming down to mid-range and lower range cards. You'll be able to use it. You'll be able to utilize it. In my opinion, it just doesn't make sense spending for, I'm just gaming and content creating. I don't need all the extra power that the 4090 has for ray tracing and all of that stuff, because it's just one of those features that, yeah, it looks nice, but I can live with HDR. I can live with HDR and high quality visuals. That's easier that's easier to run than trying to chase this this RT freaking phenomenon right now, man. It's like all these corporations out there chasing the freaking AI wave, man. They're spending billions of dollars on freaking stuff that's going to be outdated in just a couple of years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but progress, you got to be first, you got to be the fastest, you got to be the best. And that's the thing, guys. It's absolutely hilarious how much money people are willing to throw away on features that they can barely use right now, that are going to be way cheaper when they're available for everybody. I don't know, man. Like, to me, that's just kind of crazy. Yes, I get the whole I want the best and I have the money to buy the best. Like, I get that. Do that. If that's your thing and that's what's important to you, do exactly what you need to do. But for everybody else out there right now, guys, at least with the 7000 series cards, from what I've tested between Nvidia and AMD this generation, AMD really does have the best price to value and feature set that like is affordable and usable for you right now today. In a lot of the games that you're playing, you're gonna be, I feel like you would be happier, honestly. I just do, man. Like, I'm not crazy, and I'm not like broke or not poor or anything like that. Like, it's one of those, it's kind of like a principle thing, you know? Like, I don't necessarily get the experience out of ray tracing that I do with higher performance, with HDR. Those kind of matter a little bit more to me than the ray tracing at this point right now. And all of the programs I use and create content with, I don't need Nvidia to do that. I can do it just fine on the AMD platform. So yes, guys, at the end of the day, right now in its current form, I feel HDR is something more important than ray tracing. And as time goes on and as you combine both technologies, things will get better, and then you'll understand why it's like, okay, it's great right now, and definitely let the people that have to chase that. Right now, you can get by with like top-end AMD stuff for a fraction of the price that you're going to be trying to pay for Nvidia stuff to chase those technologies. And your investment in AMD absolutely helps that get better, man. The more market share AMD gets, the more developers are going to be like out to, develop for AMD. When you look at like PlayStation and Xbox, everything's developed for PlayStation and imported to Xbox, and that's pretty much the same thing, on the PC side. I get it, man. It's like, if you can't beat them, just join them, whatever. But I like AMD. I like the openness. I like the software significantly more than the Nvidia side of things. So yeah, AMD is working just fine for me right now. Is that always going to be the case? Who knows? If it, there's always that time where I'm going to be back on Nvidia. Like, I would almost bet, the way things are going right now, if AMD doesn't start gaining enough market share, none of us are going to have that option, man. None of us are going to have that option. So I say pick your battles in PC a lot smarter. Everybody will tell you to go for Nvidia, do this, do that, do that. Pick your battles smartly, man. Like, right now, the AMD stack is performing and doing a very good job compared to the competition. Right now is the absolute time to buy an AMD GPU and, let Nvidia know that, like, look, man, we're not going to be taken advantage of. AMD makes a perfectly good card that we can use, We want more competition on price. We don't care about the features that we can barely use. We want competition on price. You guys keep telling me that we want better pricing. We want better pricing. Well, the only way we're going to get better pricing is if we actually put our money where our mouth is and we buy the competition. I guarantee there's enough in AMD to 100% satisfy you for at least a generation. Like, you will be happy. I've been happy this whole generation on AMD 7000 series cards, and I've tested from 7600 XT all the way to the 7900 XTX. I know that these AMD cards are good and they scale proportionately across the whole freaking stack. So wherever you buy into, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna be satisfied. So yeah, I definitely think HDR is significantly better, at least right now, in overall image quality. So, all right guys, we'll see you in the next one. I gotta get to work. Bye.